Hey guys, hello, how are you all doing? So today we are doing a system design mock and this is entirely unscripted mock. There is a nothing like a it's a scripting kind of. So you can see the heat of the interview, real interview kind of a feeling you will be getting. And be sure to listen to the feedback at the end. So what are the feedbacks which are given to this candidate? And this will surely help you and you will see like how exactly the mistakes that we make during the interview. So be sure to listen to the feedback. So let's get started. So I'm really sorry. Like at the beginning, I forgot to record the beginning of 5 minutes. So that was more like a requirement gathering. This guy is working on requirement gathering, but all the requirements are written over the screen. You can see those requirements, and you will see like the interview starts from the estimations. Okay, great. To see you guys. Hope you like it. Yeah, I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Whenever when some user is pasting some text and say when they are getting like shareable link, so when
Mm-hmm.
they are sharing some link to some users, so when they are accessing that URL, and they has to be redirect to that page with the text, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Since we have like 1 MB of text, like you said, 100
Mm-hmm.
requests per second. Like what is the ratio of write to read we can expect from this service? Like
Yeah, that's a good question. Like you can assume like 1:10 should be fine, right? That way you can assume.
this should like for one ride we'll expect like 10 retry.
Yes, on an
Okay.
average, yeah.
So can I assume like we will get around 10 requests per second of write? Is that okay to assume 10 requests of write?
10 requests of right. Yeah, yeah, should be fine. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're expecting like it would be like maximum of 1
Wait,
MB.
1 minute. What is 10 request of 10 reads? That's what you are saying?
No, requests requests of write per second. Like maybe like we are expecting 10 requests per second, which is a write operation.
No, it's like total 100 requests per second, right? Okay,
Okay.
so
Out of
you are saying okay 10 as the right. Okay, great. Okay, fine.
okay, then
Mm-hmm.
like for a second you may be like expecting 10 MB of data maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly for a day, for an hour, we might be expecting around like six like approximately 36 GB for an hour. Since if we do if
Mm-hmm.
so since like for a day we may expect around like 1000 GB of data to store to save. So since
Mm-hmm.
what about the availability, like it has to be available, right? So since it's So everyone expect to be like they want it to be available, right? So
So what you did is, how come you came with like 1 day equals to 1000 GB?
like like 36 into 24 hours.
Okay,
Like
that's
around like it would be around 864 something.
okay, okay, okay. Oh, fine. Yeah,
Just like
yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
but one thing over here, do you really think like when it's a max size, do you really think that everyone is going to paste 1 MB of
Yeah,
data? 1 MB
uh,
is like huge data, right?
yeah.
It's
So uh,
i in terms of text, like
that's,
it's huge.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like
Mm?
this is like maximum expected result. I don't think it will be completely utilized. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking like say maybe so maybe hundreds to hundreds of babies average.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in worst case we may end up like having 1 TB, but that is not an useless case because uh, well, that might be like huge text or like huge burden for the database side. So let me calculate in terms of average. So around 200 KB, like if I'm choosing 150 KB as my like average, so for a second I would be like getting around like 1 MB
Mm-hmm.
for an hour. Like
Let's be a little quick because like it's
just
only we have limited time, right?
yeah, okay. Since it's like
Mm-hmm.
similarly 3.56, 3.6 GB, like approximately we are expecting around 100 GB of data per day. So similarly
Mm-hmm.
for a month, this would be like what is the validity of the text? Like are we supposed are we like setting like what would be the time to live like? So
Uh, okay.
will it expire?
You can like provide both the options. User may choose like if they want to expire it in a day or maybe like a 2 day or a week. Okay, they should be able to choose. And if they are not like selecting any expiry, then you can default it to maybe like 1 year.
1 year.
Yep.
Okay. So this will be like around 3 TB. Since we are having like 1 year of like I'm expecting like around 50 TB of data. So
Okay.
let me
Mm-hmm.
quickly went through the like system design, like what would be the components in the
Mm-hmm.
uh, system.
Okay.
And see my screen, right?
Yeah.
My okay. So this is like
Mm-hmm.
we quickly read the components like since I'm increasing the load balance. Since we can have authorization like so we can have multiple users, so I'm kind of creating a user service which points to
Mm-hmm.
will be used like to get the details of an user and doing basic authentications.
Mm-hmm.
So since we have to create a link, I'm kind of creating
So these are your microservices. That is what actually you are drawing over here.
like I'm pointing out like what would be the services which can be in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so okay, so links generation service. Data service called routing to in terms of so someone is so if there is a request with an URL, so they want expect to route. So based upon the information I have, I will route them to the.
Mm-hmm.
I will route them with the data back. I don't think it's a routing. Let me change it. Since we are not. So this is like we will have another front end website
Mm-hmm.
front end from which we will route back, right? So we will own the front end, right?
Yeah. So it's a read service you are talking about, right?
Yeah. So like yeah. Currently we have to own the front end. So sorry.
You can name it. It should be fine, like read service or like a redirection service, anything like
Okay.
what, whichever you prefer.
So so whenever a user so this is the complete overview of our app. So whenever a user is reaching our web app, so when they might provide a text and they when they are clicking like get link, so they will post our like our services would be like post. So since we may expect like we are having an a service to post them and
Mm-hmm.
let me have it as like text. Maybe we can have it like text in this. Uh, Other request body might be the text they may be posting.
Mm-hmm.
So like can we assume like so this is my other service.
This is my service means I didn't get
No,
you.
no, let me write that. Let me add that.
Okay.
Is there any limit so for an user we have to limit like maximum number of requests so they can create
Uh,
how
uh,
many.
that's a good question actually for generally every service that we have some kind of a rate limiter. But for now, like
Yeah.
let's ignore that.
Okay, so they can create multi like unlimited. shareable links.
yes, yes, yes. Like for now, we are not limiting, but certainly, like we'll have to limit. But actually, for this system design, we are not considering that.
Okay. So like we're having multiple resources in gateway. So based upon that, so
Mm-hmm.
since this is like a coordinator, I'm naming it as gateway. So this will have the all the response based upon the type of request they may reroute to the individual service, like whether we want to reroute, we want to read the text, or whether we want to create a shareable link. So if there is an user, sorry, if there is an authenticated user in the current session, then we have to read the what user session. Then we
Mm-hmm.
have to get related text from his sad sad text. So like
Mm-hmm.
this will be like our coordinator. So links will have a link generation service in which we have to post the text which user is posting towards our web.
Mm-hmm.
So based upon the text, we may generate a URL. So and we will paste. We will have that like in a hash map, like what would be the key would be the like URL, and the value would be like the text key saving. So since it's not a searchable text, we can save it as a complete blob.
Mm-hmm.
So since if it needs a searchable thing, we have to make a way to save it in some sort of searchable
Mm-hmm.
databases like Elasticsearch or using or some other.
Okay.
Since this is not so since we are not expecting search, I think
Mm-hmm.
we can save it as completely as a keyword. So since it uh, doesn't relevant to,
Yeah.
okay, so let me, like, since we have to be more available, I'm thought of introducing catch here. Like so so the read service has to, some kind of, to improve the
Mm-hmm.
performance, some kind of thinking to add a catch here. So since we are having more requests for read than the write, so it would be like better to have a catch here. So like I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
adding catch before read service. So if there is a miss, it may reach the database. Okay, like okay. So this is this would be the system design. Let me go through some use case. Like so, when some user is posting, so this will come to the load balancer, and then be forwarded to the gateway. So since it may be like we may have like multiple servers handle. Since we are having
What is it like a multiple instances or what is
Yeah,
that?
multiple instances here.
Okay.
I'm trying to put it back, but I don't know how to. Like I'm trying this like whimsical for the first one. So that's since it's a micro base, so we may need to have a service discovery kind of. So this has to be aware of like what are the services which is currently like
Hmm.
read service select users.
So the service discovery is inside a gateway or okay.
So it depends on like if you are
Hmm.
if you are based on a Kubernetes service, maybe the Kubernetes has a default, right? So if
Hmm.
it is like we have to like so in Java there's a Eureka, not Eureka. There's a thing from Netflix. I don't know exactly like service discovery
Hmm.
console is there.
Okay.
So
Okay.
similarly, so based upon that, we may reach the
Hmm.
we may reach the service discovery to find the instance like where the service is located, and then maybe reach the
Okay.
request to service. Then we will do the correct.
Okay.
So can I spoke in details like how we will save the like details in database, like how we will reroute. So, like can we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
into
yeah,
that?
exactly. Yeah, we are actually more interested on these services like a read service and a link generation service. How exactly are we generating the link?
Yeah. Okay. So since we are expecting multiple, so this link generation
Mhm.
could be like we can have multiple instances, and so the multiple instance has to create links. So independently, maybe we could choose a hashing service, like simple hashing service. This may create a long URL if you are choosing for a strong hashing services. So
Mm-hmm.
so you can choose a simple service or some services like I have seen like
Mm-hmm.
so we have many URL tiny URL services like so when we are giving an URL they may convert URL to a simple URL, right? So what they made I learned about some
Mm-hmm.
like internals like initially they will start with some three letters.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can have multiple so like case sensitive. So they may include capital letters and as well as small letters. So this would be the use case.
So you have
So
capital letters, small letters.
so that would be like you have combination of small letters like 26 of
Okay.
similarly 26 capital letters around.
Okay.
So since it's two digit, uh, three digits, they may get around like I don't know. I didn't create it like 2 power. How to put power in here? So, okay. So similarly, since we are like three digits and of 2652 characters, so like we have a certain amount of possibilities here. So when
Mm-hmm.
they utilized the complete availability, so they may move around like four digits. So since we have multiple
Okay.
instances which are creating generations, they may have like so for a like for the range to this one for this range to this range this
Mm-hmm.
node is allocated to create based links based on that range. So I have read something related to that to have a so this was created to have minimum number of characters in the
Mm-hmm.
links. So if you are not caring more about uh, uh, length of the URL, we may choose some hashing algorithms like uh, so
Hashing on what? Like we need some
like
input, right?
that's what I'm thinking like hashing on the text would be like
Yeah, it's a 1 MB of data,
yeah.
right? You cannot
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm
use that.
thinking. So we can't hash hold on the text because there would
Exactly.
be a huge. That's what I'm thinking. What can we expect? Like, what are the parameters? So since we are, if we choose the prefix or suffix, then that would be like if the same text have the same prefix, then that would be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't. That could be a random
Okay.
seed based like so we can create a seed and then based upon the
Yeah.
I'm thinking like since we have to so since someone is sending the URL and
Hmm.
we have to find the exact way to find the key of the row in databases, right? So I'm thinking like
Let's say like what you are saying is a random. Let's say like go ahead with it, and then let's see like what are the problems. Can you like
okay,
yeah. Let's say like go ahead, and then we'll see.
okay. So if we generate a random URL, so since we don't have a relationship between the text and so we will generate a random
Mm-hmm.
URL and then so we will save that text with key as that random
Mm-hmm.
like random text random key. So we'll associate the value of the text to the random or a random key and then like we'll update the cache also like so this is the
But how are you
I don't
ensuring
think
that the random is like we want to have a like a unique URL, right? Otherwise, like we will lose the data. User will never be able to access the data, right?
yeah
So
so
we'll have
like
to ensure it has to be unique, right?
yeah so since we can choose
Mm-hmm.
like we can take a time based like so say we can choose a current time with up to 1.5 seconds and then we can hash it then that would be
I didn't get you. What you're saying? You will choose time,
yeah,
or
I'll choose a current time
mm-hmm.
then hash it then I'll get a random URL or else we can use some secure random from the libraries
Mm-hmm.
this or UID
But then also like certainly we'll see a lot of collisions, right?
yeah maybe we can associate a node flank IDs we can choose like maybe we can associate the nodes IDs to that
Okay, node ID of the server actually, which
yeah
is actually processing the
like
request,
who
right?
is creating the
Mm-hmm.
link
Okay,
plus maybe the ways to create a based upon like UUID or some secure random or the current time.
right. Mm-hmm.
Then
It may be like okay for these like low requests, it may like it works, right? But when we want to scale it, then you will see like more collisions, right? If we are getting more requests, let's say 1,000 requests, and then over time we'll see like even using the node ID and time also, we'll start seeing a lot of collisions.
saying like if you choose the time from nanosecond, also that would be a problem. Yeah. Okay.
That actually, if you can show in a calculation that it's not a problem. But certainly, like even
Yeah, yeah,
nanoseconds
I'm
also,
getting.
at some
Yeah,
point of time, if we want to scale
that could
beyond,
be
at
the
some,
case.
can we think of like what is our target over here? Like we have to generate it like uniquely, right? Uniqueness is what we want.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Like how to create. Will the time will be the problem? How will be the problem? So I'm thinking.
Hmm.
So if we ask the database to create their random IDs, that could be like that may have like what I'm thinking is like if we ask the database to create a like ID based thing, but I'm thinking will that be a problem? There may be problem due to if you're starting that may be the problem.
Anyways, let's say this random is certainly not going to work. That actually you also can see that, right?
Yeah,
Can we like okay think of some different way like to have uniqueness in the URL?
it's like whenever they're posting, uh, we may post with a seed, then can
Hmm.
create a so whenever they are posting, then we will create some random pseudo text or random seed, and then we'll post. Then from that seed plus current
Hmm.
time, can we create
So you are
a
saying
random
like a user will be sending some custom string, and then on top of
here,
it,
like, so
you.
whenever you're yeah,
Hmm.
whenever we are pointing to our web app, so like whenever they're posting, we may generate a
Hmm.
string of length, and then we'll use a seed, and then like this may be different
What about like the sequential generation?
from databases like
Yeah,
incrementing.
yeah. How will that work, and what are the issues that you see over there?
What I'm thinking is like sequential generation in case if there is a if it fails, then it may when it restarts. I think it may start from so like you're saying like sequential for all the data or like sequence for the node. Like whenever there's a
Hmm.
request to a node, then you'll increment or like you're saying like for the whole thing you'll increment. Like
Whenever like you are saving to a database, right? So if the you are must be making some row, right? If there is a say auto increment, it will automatically give you a new number, right?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like since
Hmm.
uh, we may have like
Yeah,
for
what
a
are
year,
the issues that you see? That's what I'm asking. Like, is there any issues that you see over there?
yeah, like
Hmm.
if you're asking the database to create like IDs of the
Hmm.
database, like you're asking to it to be sequentially. If you are sharding like to increase the write or read through sharding, then maybe that may be a problem. Other than that, that would be great. I think only problem would be like
Hmm.
when you do a shard that that ID or primary key would be the
Okay.
problem in case of that's the only thing I'm seeing. If you ask the database to create a sequential number, other than then, I think we are good. They may check with.
Yeah.
So
Your
since
point.
it's an update, they will whenever they are create, they will create and they'll create a unique ID. So
Hmm.
the next one will create incremental only. That would be the great
Yeah, for sharding, like that will cause an issue. We can easily like add the shard ID, and then it will become unique again, right?
node ID. Like shard ID means like what part of the shard it belongs to, like
Hmm.
plus incremental you're saying.
Yeah, that should solve the problem, right?
Yeah, yeah. But we have to manage that ID, right? So like
Hmm.
we have to increment the.
Yes. So how exactly? So anything? Do you see any issues or anything?
Yeah, I think we can.
Hmm.
So in case of maybe if it's not a SQL, what if in case of a non-relational that would there also they create like in Elasticsearch they will create a custom ID. So if there is no ID, okay. I think that would be great. Like I don't think.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But what about do you think that if we will generate sequential, what about the predictability? Any user can easily predict, right? that
Yeah,
what are you going to generate next. In fact, they can entirely like know like what are the data that you have, right?
I think you're saying like so to get the what are the text available in the database, they can go through like test tab slash text slash 1 2 3. So they want to like they will
They can read
iteratively
you.
go through all the sequential
Literally,
numbers and
yeah,
they
exactly.
will get all the text.
Right.
Yeah. So like we can map right. So since we shouldn't give the exact ID to the user like sequential IDs to the user. Instead of like we will give a some hash
Hmm.
or around that, but they can like if someone can check like what would be the hash of one, and they can check like what would be the, I
Yeah.
don't and they, but I think they can't know what type of hashing plus
Hmm.
they're using. So like that is a requirement like so the user should not randomly, so they should not brute force our text or the database text we are having, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So since what I'm thinking is like we can use of sequential increment,
Hmm.
and then instead of uh, giving that ID directly to the user, we may ask in like we may encrypt using a key,
Hmm.
and then so whenever they are using when they are when they are like when they are when in read we can decrypt and we can get the primary ID and then we can access the, but there is a cost of encryption and decryption at each request.
Hmm.
Okay.
So you have all the like, let's say like currently forget about shard and all whatever. So you
Yep.
have some set of numbers available, right?
So
uh,
like we are yes, like whenever we utilize that length, we will increment like yours.
yeah, so let's say like your database has a capacity maybe like billion records, right?
Okay.
That you have like okay limit that you know okay, I can store a billion records. The only thing that currently you need is instead of going sequentially, what you need is you have to choose it randomly so that user should not be able to predict it, right? and and also like not just randomly, you should not be like using the exact number. Instead that we need some kind of a en- encryption or like it may be some kind of conversion so that it should look, in fact it should not look like a number, right?
Okay. So you're saying like we have to have like hash table related to the string to the ID
Hmm.
or
I'm saying like let's say you have billion records. If you are choosing out of billion records one random key, okay, instead of sequential, then a user won't be able to figure out like what is the next, right? The predictability is not there, right? Anyone like cannot predict. Otherwise like they can easily see like okay you are generating one then two then three, and that way that is a big issue, right?
yeah. Since like if you ask the database to create based upon like UUID, I think
Hmm.
they may can't create.
So that's what like actually we need some kind of a service which will ensure that if we have a billion records it should not return me the sequential things.
Okay. So you're saying like
Hmm.
uh, So we have to use the sequential ordering in database, and the same time we shouldn't give the ID to a user, or like you're saying like you have to use the ID kind of. So the ID has to be like var or like it has to be the uh, unique identifier which could not be predictable, or like
Yes,
our
unique
application
unique
has to
identifier. Yeah, unique identifier. Yeah, application generates some kind of
have
unique
unique
identifier.
identifier, and then we have to abide by it. Like we have to set it as ID for that record.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
so So like that's what I'm thinking is like whenever there's a request to that link generation service, we will
Mm-hmm.
create that unique identifier like UID plus some key like sorting key or something. Then we will save that to the database, and then like we can update the cache, or like we can use like whenever there's a
Mm-hmm.
read, we can update the cache if there's a miss. Like
Okay.
so, since the key has like direct relationship to the row, then we can directly use the key to query in the database.
Mm-hmm.
Since cache is mostly like a in-memory key value, so we can have that UID as our key,
Okay.
and then we can associate the direct text to that value of the cache. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
whenever someone is requesting like so get me like text comma some random UID, so we'll based upon that request like rest slash like read slash something, so we will find that to the read service, and then based we will check for that, we will check in cache is there any
Mm-hmm.
entity is in cache. If there is, then we will return. I think we have the ultimate
Yeah.
proportion is like we have to serve from cache, and then out of like 100 requests we have to minimize the miss, right? So like how we have to provide. So since we are providing 100 QPS, I think we can have around like yeah catch. We can have most thing in cache. So if you provide like
Mm-hmm.
more memory to them, like if we try to have so if we check like if that is an like famous text set, then that would be like in the cache. Maybe we can use like least recently
Okay. Okay. That can.
updating policy,
Mm-hmm.
then like most used will be at the cache, and I think we don't miss it. If there's a mesh, we
Mm-hmm.
can directly check in the database, and we will read, and then we will update the cache, and then we'll return
Okay. Hey,
the
hey, Abhishek, I think we are running out of time. Let's stop it here, and then let's have a like. Okay, we'll discuss like about the feedback that is more important for you, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we are done with the interview. Okay, let's see like how exactly did you perform. So few of the points I think which will help you improve. The very
Okay.
first point is actually what is like system design is certainly like is for the senior guy, right?
Yeah.
So whenever actually you are presenting any kind of a system design, be sure like you are acting as a leader. I mean, it should not be like what I see is like a low in confidence. That's what at least I am observing, right?
Okay.
Because when you are going for any company and you are going to be a leader, means you'll be leading maybe like juniors, right?
Yeah.
So it should show system design is all about figuring out that whether you can act as a leader or not, right? These are like actually over level. We'll discuss about this also how actually you perform. Second thing is like okay, communication. I saw like a lot of points. I observed like a lot of silence. Okay, you are doing some of the things, but actually you should like keep on speaking what actually are your thought process is.
Mhm.
What exactly are you doing, right? Maybe English is not like a communication. That's what I'm saying. It's about like whatever your thought process is, you should clearly convey this to the interviewer. Okay, I saw like
Okay.
little bit of gap over there. Okay,
Okay.
Now, other thing, okay, these are the things actually you did really great. Okay, you got the problem. You first, okay, you try to freeze on requirements. You're you try to clarify what exactly the problem is. So that's a great thing that you talked about the text size. You talked about whether the updates are allowed or not, like edit allowed or not. They talked about logged in and non-logged in users. Uh, so you also talked about like okay, any kind of a custom URL supported or not. Okay, these are the good point. And during the estimations, okay, I have
Okay.
like some comment over here. Estimation you are doing right, but the problem is like you're taking too much time. You should not because your interview time is limited, 45 minutes maximum 50, right?
Yeah.
You should not invest a lot of time in estimation. Hardly like 3 minutes, not more than that. At
Okay.
max is like 4 minutes. Otherwise, you know estimation. If you are like within that, you won't be able to discuss the important components, right? Over your estimation also, few of the things I saw like a miss. You calculated that how much data that we are actually going to store, right? But
Yeah.
you did not talk about how what is the like a out data that is coming out during the read. So it's like bandwidth calculation, right?
Yeah. And I think I think
There, yeah. So generally, like we talk about like generally we talk about in data, out data, and the QPS. That is what actually we discussed during the estimation. QPS was already given to you, so
yeah.
not much, but still you should have added. Okay, this is the QPS we already have given, so we no need to estimate. Okay.
Okay.
Now, component diagram, I really liked your component diagram. This was really beautifully like drawn. Every component I saw, like every component is there. But when you talk about like any system design, there is a one component that has to be discussed in entirely detail, like a core of everything. So over here, like you can see the URL generation is like core of this entire problem, right? Because generating unique URL which is not predictable, that is like a difficult task. And also, you'll have to support some kind of concurrency also, which you did not get time to discuss because the request will come concurrently, right?
Yeah.
So at that point of time, you'll have if you are generating any like a URL, maybe like let's say randomly also. Okay, for first
Okay.
request you generated some kind of random. Second also, while you are writing then it may happen that okay you overwrite that when you are writing in the second, right? So second, like first request generated ABC, second request also like randomly maybe like generating the ABC. So then
Okay.
what if you are like randomly writing like blindly writing in the database, then it will overwrite. But otherwise if you want to check the database, then it will add to latency. Like if you are getting
Yeah.
more
Like,
collisions, like how many times that you will be checking in the database, right?
yeah.
Yeah, other things is like a post service that you said, okay, that's great, okay, and then you said, okay, this is a JSON, that is what you're sending. Components, that component diagram is fine. And one more thing that you talked about whether like it is a searchable text or not, right? So that's a
Yeah.
good valid question. Uh, and you talked about hashing, but actually you are not sure like how actually you want to hash it, whether like because this text is huge, yeah, you cannot like go through like a hashing, right?
Yeah.
So a random based you talked about, but the problems actually here, like when you are talking of random, it's not like okay, you should always think that whatever you're proposing is completely right, but you should discuss what are the problems. That is the core of this system design, is discussing the trade-offs. You took
Okay.
that path, that's fine, but that what are the problems that you see over there, you discuss over there, and then you can talk about okay, this is an approach, these are the problems, these are the pros and cons. Then actually we can get to like some better algorithms, right? So that is how
Okay.
actually you should have tried to discuss randomly. You should not stick to one solution. You should try multiple because
So
uh,
instead of jumping to the solution, I think we have to. Okay.
yeah,
I got it.
trade-offs discussion. Yeah, because whatever the decisions that you are making, it should be very clear, right?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Other thing that you for randomly avoiding what you said is like you'll add node ID and all. So those are actually good idea, certainly. But at some point of time when So interviewer, obviously they will like saying, okay, I'll keep on scaling, then there will be some problem. But actually, these are good things that you discussed. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
I had to give you like a hint on how about like a sequential generation, right? I
Yeah.
gave you a hint, but yeah, you tried that, but still, there actually you are not able to figure out that this is predictable. So that actually, at least I expected that you should be able to figure out automatic by yourself that okay, this may be predictable, right?
Yeah.
uh, and these are the actually how you perform, and a lot of things are still like missing to be discussed, like what kind of database we are going to choose, what is the schema of the database over here, right? How actually that you are storing in the cache, and read service, in fact we did not even get time to uh,
Yeah.
because read service, it's whatever the blob that you are like storing, maybe like S3 or wherever, right? If you have a 1 MB of data, you cannot send directly that entirely 1 MB of data to the user, because like if you're reading through the blob and then you're sending, it's again add the latency, as you said, like this is a
Yeah.
read heavy system, right?
Yeah.
So what should be our target is to make it like read should be very very like a fast, right?
Yeah. I think maybe you're saying like you have to like segmenting the blob or
Yeah, somehow like we'll have to do maybe like a store some kind of a preview in the database itself, like wherever actually querying, instead of having the URL, you have the URL of the blob, okay, wherever you have like actually stored your content, but also in maybe like you can have a preview of, let's say, 1 KB of data, okay? So when user is requesting, you send that 1 KB of data, and in the background fetch the data from the blob and keep it ready. When the user will ask for the next page, okay, send the data. Getting it?
yeah. It's like
uh,
paging this.
yeah, exactly, because like 1 MB of data, certainly you are not going to send
Yeah.
it, that will be like too much for one page, right?
Too much for like it would be a pressure for also UI side also like showing the whole on MB in the UI it's unnecessary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think these components, when you draw the components, uh, l- uh, these are fine. Exactly, it gives you a picture of what exactly has to be discussed. You had that picture, but somehow actually maybe like link generation, you are stuck in it. And paste bin is like very popular design question. Certainly, like you should practice some kind of like most popular system design problems. With
Okay.
those, actually, what you will be getting some idea to design some other systems. If you
Okay.
have worked for tiny URL, certainly like you could have like gotten the idea of how exactly to design a paste bin.
Okay.
So what I see is like you practice some more system design problem. Okay. You are your thought process. I think you have like good idea about a lot of technologies that you are actually talking about. I saw like maybe like you have worked on Kubernetes as well. You have worked on Elasticsearch as well, right? I don't know like whether, but actually the way you are speaking, it looks like okay, you have the idea of this. So those are actually great things. I think certainly only few things is you practice about like some more problems. That will certainly help. And maybe like you improve, try to improve in this like your communication, like you be confident like whatever you are actually speaking. And
Okay.
okay. So yeah, that's about. I think I don't know like if you have watched one of the video that actually it was a
Yeah.
webinar by Geeks
Yeah.
per Gig.
I went through like gigs for gigs. I went
Hmm.
through like
So
I've
there is a
taken
one. So there is a one video by me. I don't know like if you have watched that webinar.
yeah. That's what I'm saying
Uh,
like
so
for a big bag I have seen I have like took the notes like what
mhm.
are the things which we may need to for a system. Is it like requirement gathering,
Yeah,
estimation, like
so there
TPS.
actually, yeah, so there actually I have discussed about actually how you are evaluated, trade-offs and everything, right? And there I actually put this point as well, like okay, you have to be the leader. You should not like allow like interviewer, okay, to lead the interview. Okay, it's like you are the leader. You have to lead the interview. And also one point that I have like discussed over here is it should be your design, not half yours and half interviewers.
Okay, I think I missed that point. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what like I've discussed everything in detail there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So great. Nice talking to you, and thanks for taking this call in this early morning. Thanks.
I think
Hope. Uh,
I have to thank you. Like you have been doing this like early morning. You have, like everyone have like their Sunday plans, but you're doing this in early morning. Like you have been scheduled for the whole week, right? So
Yes, yes.
uh,
Next week as well.
yeah, so I
Okay.
think you are doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks, man. So actually, see you in the next mock. Okay.
Like I'm
I
having
expect.
like
Hmm.
I have a actual interview scheduled, so that's why I thought to have a mock interview. So
Okay.
okay,
When is your interview?
I think they hadn't scheduled yet. I
Hmm.
think I have finished my online assessment.
Okay.
Uh,
1 minute. I think Devendra had some point you would like to add. Devendra, are you there?
Yeah, so all the things are clear from my end. So you have mentioned all the points. So things are
Okay.
clear from my end. No point from my end. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Awesome. So thanks, Abhishek. Okay. So see you in the next interview. If you let me know like when you are if you are able to join the call next time. If you are especially preparing for interview, is it like this week?
no, I think they haven't scheduled.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Like maybe this week they may tell me a date.
Which company are you like interviewing for?
Amazon. Like there's interview like Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah,
So like I would suggest like okay, take some time. Okay. Because it's a big opportunity. I
yeah, that's fine.
won't recommend that. Okay, that you are not fully ready and you just appear, right? Interviewing is not about just going there and getting rejected, right?
Yeah, that's what, like
Yes.
what I'm not confident is like how I'm
Mhm.
communicating my approach to the interview. That's why I'm at, like I don't have that much confident.
Yes, exactly. Like that's the problem. In fact, YouTube videos that we watch, it's like they will tell all the concepts, but trade-offs and all, like who will they know they have maybe like okay read a lot of articles or wherever they prepared the design. So that's
Yeah,
how actually, if you are going to present exact design, certainly then also you'll get rejected because you are not discussing the trade-offs, right? Here,
yeah,
like you know the exact things. So and how to present is another scenario. There actually they will not start with the very first thing like a requirement gathering and estimation. They'll not be doing that. They will only directly start saying, okay, this is the design, right? So you'll have to practice in that way.
okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Abhishek. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, thank you,
Hmm.
thank you, Pratap.
Hey, bye bye. Thank you.
Hey, Abhishek, you can leave the call. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Devendra. Yeah, how are you?
Hey.
How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So,
Hmm.
yeah, anything